Welcome to MotoGP in 9 minutes. Here is what you need to know today. Ducati arrived at the Jerez test with massive updates. New aero, modified chassis, revised fairings, swing arm changes. They had their reigning world champion putting in 68 laps of work. They were supposed to answer Aprilia's challenge. Instead, the timesheets told a brutal story. Aprilia locked out positions 1, 2, and 3. Acosta was first at 1 minute 35.94 seconds. Fernandez followed at 1:35.949. Bezzecchi rounded out the top 3. The gap between first and third? Just 0.005 of a second. That is not a gap. That is a conversation between teammates. Meanwhile, Marc Marquez, the reigning world champion with all those fresh updates, finished fourth. 3 Aprilia bikes ahead of him. Team manager Davide Tardozzi stood in front of cameras and said they investigated the aerodynamic area, that they found something, that Marc is happy with the new configuration. But the numbers don't lie. Fourth place after a massive update is not a victory. It is an admission. Marc is the fastest Ducati on the day, which sounds good until you realize the fastest version of Ducati still is not enough. 3 Aprilia machines beat him without needing the massive overhaul that supposedly made Ducati competitive again. Tardozzi spoke about discovery and possibilities. Aprilia just showed up and proved they remain the team to beat. That is the difference between words and results. Moving on to the championship picture, because this test exposed something frightening for the Ducati factory. Bezzecchi currently sits with a 44-point lead over Marc in the standings. 44 points. That is not a margin you fight back from in 2 days of testing. Aprilia has built something real, something that works across multiple riders, multiple track conditions. Their satellite representation is not a luxury. It is proof of concept. 3 machines in the top 3 slots at Jerez means their system is scalable, repeatable, and right now, it is faster than anything Ducati can produce. The reigning world champion is fourth. That sentence should terrify the Ducati factory more than any press release can fix. Marc knows it. When he said they improved a bit, not a revolution, he was being honest. That is the language of a rider telling the truth while his team hides behind corporate optimism. Tardozzi said maybe for Marc, maybe yes. On Pecco's side, we'll see. That is the vocabulary of a team that is guessing, not solving. Speaking of Pecco Bagnaia, here lies another problem Ducati cannot explain away. The 2-time world champion finished 10th in the test. 10th. He was testing actively, trying different fairings that have been retested since Valencia and Sepang. He retired from the race Sunday with a technical failure, showed up Monday, ran 68 laps, and still could not crack the top 9. 7/10 behind Iagura. Behind an Aprilia satellite rider. Tardozzi admitted Pecco still has question marks. Question marks is diplomatic language for a crisis. Pecco has brake area problems, corner entry problems. His bike is not where it needs to be, and 4 days of testing have not found the answer. This is the 2-time defending champion we are talking about. This is Ducati's #1 rider. 10th place, and we'll see, is not a response that inspires confidence. It is a response that screams uncertainty. Ducati divided their own garage into a maybe and a mystery. Aprilia said nothing. They let their timesheets do all the talking. They do not need to explain. They do not need optimism. They need only show up and be faster. That is what a confident factory looks like. Now let us talk about Marc Marquez, because his test day result cuts deeper than most people realize. Alex won the race Sunday at Jerez. Blood on the track, glory on the podium. He was the fastest rider that day. He proved he belonged in the conversation. Monday comes, test day arrives, and Alex slipped to 6th place. Did not stay in the top 5. Did not improve a single tenth during the afternoon session. Not 1/10. The race winner, the man who lit the circuit on fire just 24 hours earlier, could not translate that momentum into test pace. Nobody is asking that question loudly enough. Where is the continuity? Why does Ducati win the race and then lose the test? What are they actually developing? Race pace that evaporates in 24 hours, or test pace that means nothing in competition? Which one is the lie? This contradiction sits at the heart of Ducati's problem. They can win on Sunday. They can win the race. But they cannot turn that victory into momentum, into understanding, into progress that carries forward. Alex proved it. 4th, 5th, 6th, the best Ducati finishes were scattered and uncertain. The worst Aprilia finishes were locked in position, repeatable, confident. Here is what matters about Marc Marquez specifically. Do not mistake his humility for weakness. When Marc says he is happy, when he says he is starting to feel more confident, he is not celebrating. He is protecting the room. He is covering his team's embarrassment with the only currency money cannot buy, his credibility. He is being a soldier for an army that sent him into battle with a knife when the enemy has rifles. Marc said we don't lose our strong points, and we gained a bit in the weak points. That is a man choosing his words like a surgeon. That is damage control dressed in racing leathers. Marc Marquez will be fine. He does not need defending from these results. He is the result. He is the only honest signal coming out of that garage. He is fourth because his bike put him fourth, and because 3 Aprilia machines were better. He knows it. He will show up at Le Mans and be the first Ducati again, probably 4th or 5th overall again. And his team will call it progress. But the scoreboard is not lying. The timesheet is not political. The numbers protect nobody's reputation. Here is the final truth. Ducati came with a massive update. They tested all day. They had the reigning world champion putting in 78 laps of work. New aero, modified chassis, revised fairings, swing arm updates. Everything that was supposed to be the answer. And the final scoreboard reads Aprilia, 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 Ducati 4th. Not close, not 200ths off the lead, not in a conversation, 4th place. Ducati found a direction, not a solution. A direction is a compass with no fuel. A solution is what Aprilia put on the timing screen, signed in under 1 minute 36 seconds, and proved with 3 machines in the top 3. Bezzecchi is 44 points clear in the championship. His team just ran 1, 2, 3 in the test that was supposed to be Ducati's response. That is not a gap in the standings. That is a statement. The roles have inverted. The empire has been challenged, and the challengers are not flinching. Ducati won a race. Aprilia won a test. In this sport, tests tell you where you really stand. That is your MotoGP news for today. See you tomorrow, same place, same time.